Today is November 2nd. It's 4:40 a.m. and I could not sleep. I guess I've just been thinking about making this video for too long and I need to get it out. So it's been tomorrow will be 3 years since I've been diagnosed with colon cancer. I just wanted to let everybody know kind of what's going on and just say thank you so much for all the support you've given me and my family. So the first year, we went through chemo for 4 months, and a few surgeries, and then we did a liver resection, and then we did chemo again for 2 months. And after all that had happened, we felt pretty good for about 4 or 5 months. And then we did radiation. The second year, we did radiation, and that was every day for I think 5 or 6 weeks. I can't remember the exact amount, but I do remember it was every day, and I had to drink enough water to fill up my bladder to push certain parts of my stomach out of the way so they could radiate on just to pinpoint a location, and that was such a pain in the butt. I hated radiation. So now I have 3 tattoos that I never thought I would ever have. I don't want tattoos, and I don't want any more. The 3 I have are tiny dots, and they hurt. I won't be doing that again. After that, we had to have an ileostomy. So they went in and removed another section of my colon that required me to put in an ileostomy, which is it's a bag that's on the outside of your body so that instead of your waste going all the way from your stomach out your back door, it's just going into a bag that's on your front that you have to empty. And I've never felt more humble in my life and more out of control. So we had to do that for about 3 or 4 months, and then we were able to get that reversed. So that's awesome. So everything's back together, and I don't have to worry about that anymore. So I've learned a lot about that stuff, and I have way more respect for anybody that has to go through any type of ostomy and has to take care of that on a full-time basis, because I know some people have to do that for a long period of their lives. So mad respect for those people. That's just amazing that they are able to do that and go about their daily lives and still enjoy life. After having that reversed, we came into this year, so 2023, with a few symptoms. By the time May came around, our numbers were high enough that we thought we might need to do treatment again. So we were going to try doing chemo again in May. But I got through the first treatment. It was a 3 or 4 hour long infusion, and then it was pills for 2 weeks after that. So I got through the first one. Unbeknownst to me, I wasn't taking the right amount of pills, and so the first week I took half the dosage I was supposed to. So the second week I matched the dosage I was supposed to, and then we tried another round of chemo, and the second round I couldn't do it. I had the infusion done, and they blew out both my arms, and it hurt super bad, and I was just tired of it. And then so we did the infusion, got that done, and then I did the pills for about 3 days. That time I made it through about a week of pills. And then we tried it a third time in July, and I got I think it was like the end of June, and I got the infusion done, and I got 1 day into the pills, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So like even just like the mental break of those pills was just driving me crazy. So you ask, like, why would you do these treatments? It's because the trade-off for the pain that the cancer was causing, the treatment sounded like it would relieve a lot of the pain that I was having. And so that was our attempt at relieving pain. So it was just like either deal with the pain through treatment and throwing up all the time, or we could try to figure out how to get through treatments. So that was the hardest part. So we were like, well, when we could get through treatments, maybe we could try out some of the medicinal marijuana or those gummies that people have talked about. I've heard other cancer patients say they've tried them and they found great relief with them. So I was like, well, we can try those out. Craziest experience of my life. It didn't work out for us, to say the least. Savannah and I were blown away at how everything worked and the doctors, and it was just so weird. I didn't enjoy it, so I took some. I would take a quarter of a gummy. I think there was like 30 milligrams per gummy. I don't even know. There's THC and CBD and CBN and CBG. There's so many different things involved in them, and I have no idea what was in any of them. And they're like, the best thing you can do is just try it and see if it works. The problem was it was like super expensive, and so it's like, well, do I try it, or like I'm not gonna try it and just keep spending money on it to get to the right point. Beyond that, I didn't really enjoy the way I felt because I had like zero control if I took too much. So one night I took too much, or it was just a quarter, but it must have been the bottom of the bag or something, or the bottom of the recipe, because it was jam-packed. I was looping, and I hated how out of control I was. Savannah and I talked about it last night, and I think the biggest thing over the last 3 years I've learned is like I have zero control over what happens in my life right now. And so any type of control I can get, I really want to hold on to. So that's been hard to understand. So needless to say, we moved on from the gummies, and we moved on from the chemo treatment plan, and we moved on to treatment now that we've started. I'm on my second treatment right now. It's 2 weeks long, in between infusions, and it's just an hour-long infusion, and it's a protein blocker. The side effects of this one are that you break out in a rash all over your body. Well, my whole body is like dry skin. It's not, I don't know. But there is a rash if I don't take care of it and make sure I use lots of lotion and stuff. So I've had to learn how to do that. Along with that, I'm acne breakouts and stuff, and so actually I had acne in my ear, and so I lost hearing in my ear, and because there was like 4 zits in there, and my tympanic membrane burst or ruptured, and then this one also had like 3 or 4 zits in it, so it's been eardrops, and been going back and forth on that, trying to figure that out. So the last 3 weeks have been kind of rough. But I want to talk about mostly like what I've been able to do because of the last 3 years, and how big of a blessing it has been for myself and my family to be able to go through this and totally change our perspective on everything that we've been going through. It's been able, the first thing I have on my list is it helped us buy a new car. So when we initially got diagnosed, we had the Civic and a Prius and 3 little boys. Knox was only 1.5 years old. Colt was 3, and I think Walker was 4. Yeah. And so he was just about to turn 5. So when we started this, we had really little kids. I mean, they're still little kids, but they can buckle themselves up now, and they can take care of themselves. They're a lot more independent than they were when we started this. So we bought a new car, and it has been so awesome. And a lot of the money that we received from people, we put towards that car. It's just something that has been so nice for our families, because we've been able to drive places. Like the first place we took it was to Moab. like a month after we caught it, or a month and a half after we got it, we went to Moab with my brother and his family. I was in the middle of chemo, and it's really comfortable, and it kept me warm, and it's just great. So, and then we were able to drive to Phoenix. We've been gone to the cabin, and we don't have to switch out for a truck. We can just go straight to the cabin. It's so nice. So we've had so many good times in that car. We've drove to Yellowstone. We've driven so many places in it, and I'm so appreciative for that. And I know that's something that's kind of funny, but time in the car with family has been awesome. One thing over the last 3 years that has surprised me that I've started to enjoy is birthday parties. I'm not a big birthday guy. I'm not a big celebration guy. At least I wasn't until I realized how important those milestones are in our lives. I think I don't really show it a lot, and I'm sure Savana would probably argue with you that I still don't get too excited, but it's a lot more now than it used to be. I enjoy watching my boys grow up and being able to see them gain knowledge and mature, and it's amazing. That's one thing I've enjoyed a lot, or that has stood out to me a little bit more in the past 3 years. When I started this, I was 29 years old, and so I remember thinking, man, I made it to 30. Like, that's awesome. Now I'm 32, and I'm going on 32 and a half here soon, so it's good. Another thing is I've been able to watch the boys go to school. With my being able to work here in town, and I get the chance to drop my boys off to school and pick them up from school, and it is so cool. I didn't think that school would be that cool of a thing, but my boys love school, and I love to see them go to school, and gain new friends, and learn how to read. Walker is a whiz. That kid can read a whole book by himself, like chapter books. He's awesome. Colt's gonna be right behind him. He's in kindergarten now, and he's learning all of his letters and the sounds of the letters and everything. And Knox is learning all his letters too. It's so fun to watch those boys grow up. We've been so lucky to have the teachers that we have for these boys. I know some people, they're not so sure about the teachers and stuff, but I gotta tell you, I am so happy that I can send my boys to school for 6 hours or whatever it is and not have to worry about them. That's 6 hours of the day that I don't get to be with them. But if they get to be with somebody that cares about them and cares about our family, and cares about their growth, that is so important to me. So I am so grateful for teachers. That's one thing I've learned in the last 3 years, is teachers are amazing. Especially those preschool teachers that are willing to put up with Knox, even if it's only for 2 hours a day. He is awesome. Yeah, preschool teachers are a whole nother thing. They're so great. We are grateful for them. Another thing that stood out is I've been able to watch every single one of my boys learn how to ride a bike. How cool is that? They love to be outside and learn new things. We've been able to go paddle boarding. We bought some paddle boards, and so we've only gone like once, but it was so fun, and I think the boys had a heck of a time up on the lake. So something else that's on my list is I've been able to lose my hair twice. So the first 4 months of chemo, I lost all of my hair, all over my body. It was awesome. I kind of liked not having armpit hair, not having leg hair, and that stuff. Would I take the time to shave it off? No. but just not having it was kind of cool. It came back after I had my liver resection, and then I lost it again after those 2 months. I didn't lose it all of it, but I lost it again after those final 2 months of chemo, and then it came back. The first time it came back super curly and super dark. It was pretty funny. So the next thing on my list is we've been able to go on a lot of small and big adventures. So like I said, we went paddleboarding. So like a lot of Brant's Brown family style of the weekend is, what do we want to do this weekend? And we kind of just pack up and go. So this year we've gone to the cabin like 3 times, and it's all been on like 3 days notice with grandma. It's like, hey grandma, is it okay if I come down to the cabin this weekend? And every time it's been, yeah, come on down. So that is one place that I hold near and dear to my heart. My grandparents have a cabin just north of Zion National Park in Kolob. And it's actually just east of Kolob Reservoir in the Oak Valley. I'm pretty sure that's where heaven is. So after this life, I'm pretty sure that's where I'm going to go. Like I said earlier, with the car, we've been able to go to Phoenix. I went to Phoenix with the whole family when Walker was really young. Billy and I and my dad and Walker and Madison, we went down to Arizona, made a trip to Phoenix, and that was so fun. But it was so, this time we were going to take all boys, and I said, well, I don't think I can handle 3 kids by myself, just making an excuse. And then so Savana could, like, I wanted Savana there. I want her with me all the time. So like a few nights away from her is way too many nights away. So we took everybody down to Phoenix, and we went to baseball games, and we drove by the Grand Canyon, and we made a huge road trip out of it, and it was awesome. Another adventure or little adventure I went on, and I went with Billy to Austin, Texas. I'd never been to Texas before, and that was kind of on my bucket list, and so we went to Texas. But when you go with Billy on trips, it's not just going to be to that one city. It's going to be whatever's within driving distance, and driving distance could be like 5 or 6 hours. So we hit a lot of Texas. We hit San Antonio and Austin and Dallas Fort Worth, and we went to a Rangers game. We saw the Longhorns. We went to San Antonio and saw the boardwalk. It was awesome. If you ever need to go on a really good vacation, just have Billy set it up for you, and he can tell you where to go and what to do and what food to eat and all sorts of stuff. On that trip, it was like, I want to say like 2 weeks after I had my ileostomy placed or something like that. It was pretty recent after, and so I was just barely getting comfortable with it. Nothing like jumping into deep water and not having your own bathroom to go to. But I will tell you, when you have an ileostomy, you figure out where all the bathrooms are at and which ones are clean, and I could review all the bathrooms. That's what I was thinking about doing, actually. Because we went to Disney World a month after that, and I still had my ostomy, and so I was just like, man, I figured out where all the bathrooms are, which ones are the cleanest. Like, somebody should write this up. Something I was able to do before all that, actually, I kind of had my list a little backwards, but that's okay. In Sacramento, so like that whole year, I was flying out to Sacramento once a month to go practice with a butcher team called the Butchers of America. It's a group of guys or group of butchers that competed in a worldwide butcher competition. I got involved with that, obviously, from work and from Nathan, and I was able to do pretty much what I do on my daily job with social media, making a website, and helping those guys out with pretty much stuff that kind of I'm okay at, taking video and taking pictures and stuff. And so I had a really good time there, and I met a lot of awesome people. I'm still involved with the Butchers of America, actually, so it's been a lot of fun. I got put on the board, and so I still help out with their website and with their social media and kind of with like the back end of stuff, which is nice. And like I said, I've met a lot of really cool people, and have been able to learn a lot doing that with those guys. That's one thing. I also throughout the like 3 years, I have learned to kind of slow down a little bit. I've had to say no to jobs, and I hate it so much. I love helping people out with their businesses and making videos and doing pictures and all sorts of stuff, but I've actually had to say no, and that's been kind of hard, but I think it's been good, also to finally kind of just take a step back and spend more time with family. I know you always say that, oh, I'm going to spend more time with family this time, but until it actually happens, or like you're forced to do it, you don't realize how important it is. And then so this year, the biggest trip or biggest challenge that I put on, well, that's not true. I guess I had a couple challenges I put on my bucket list. So this year, in January, I started going to CrossFit with Savana, and she is a champ. She goes at 5 in the morning, and most days she goes at 5 in the morning, but she's pretty consistent in going, and she's learned a lot, and she's grown a lot, and so I started going with her because I figured, man, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm pretty healthy right now, and I think I can go consistently. So it won't be like 2 months on, do treatment, come back for 2 months. And so I wanted to be consistent with it, and I didn't want to like show up once in a while and come back and forth. So we started in January, and so my goal ended up being I wanted to complete Murph, and I wanted to do it in the right order, I guess. I don't know if there really is an order or not. I don't know that much about it, but Murph is just it's a workout that the CrossFit community does on Memorial Day for it's a mile run, and then 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 air squats, and then a mile run. And you're supposed to do it with a weight vest if you're really into it, but there's no way. I was actually starting to feel pretty crummy about a month before the event happened, and my friend was able to help pull me through that, and so that was a really cool thing to do. I haven't been able to run half marathons like I want to and that type of stuff, so that was a really fun challenge to get through, like physically and mentally. That was awesome. The next biggest thing we did was the Grand Canyon. So on my bucket list, obviously, was the rim to rim on the Grand Canyon. My senior year of high school, a couple of my friends, we drove down to the Grand Canyon, and my friend ran from the North Rim to the South Rim, and then another friend of mine hiked from the North Rim to the South Rim, and then I had another friend with me, and we were the drivers, and so we drove from the North Rim to the South Rim, and then picked those guys up on the other side. And I was like, man, I would really want to do this one day, just like myself, because I think that's something I can do. And so, well, better time than when you're going through cancer treatments and trying to figure out life and everything else, right? So it was with my dad's brothers and Billy and my cousins, a few of my cousins on my dad's side, and it was awesome. It was so nice to spend time with that side of the family. You don't get to spend a lot of time with those guys, so getting to know them a little bit was awesome. And Billy really pulled me through that challenge of that canyon. It wasn't easy. If you don't know anything about it, you should look it up. It's pretty cool. It's awesome. And if you're into hiking at all, definitely put it on your list of things to do and train for it. My toenails still are a little funky, but they're not too bad. They're just about back to normal. So, and it's only been almost 6 months since we did it. Well, 4 months since we did it. So, the other thing I was able to do in the last 3 years was Savana and I spoke in sacrament meeting a few times, and we spoke in state conference in the adult session once. I'm glad we've only had to do that once, and I don't plan on doing it again. If they ask, of course we'll say yes, but I don't know. It's good. The next thing on my list is I've been able to solidify relationships. The relationships I had with my family have been solidified. It's like, you obviously going through cancer and this type of thing, you find out who you can rely on and who's going to take care of you and who's going to check in on you and who you want to talk to all the time, who you're willing to open up to. And I've found so many good people through people that I work with and people that are friends. I have just been able to do so much with relationships in the last 3 years, and hopefully most of it's been for the good. I'm so grateful for my family and for the solid base that they are. Is truly like a solid foundation for me. Anytime the healthcare workers call and they're like, "Hey, do you have a good support system?" I'm like, "Oh man, you have no idea." And then beyond that, with my relationship with Savana, holy cow. I never thought it could get better, but it seems like every day it gets better. It is so cool. My relationship with God is amazing. My relationship with my Savior is amazing. And it just gets better. To say the last 3 years have sucked is a fact. To say the last 3 years have been a huge blessing is also a fact. To say the last 3 years I've learned more than I ever thought I would. Yeah, it's so awesome. So most of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody who supports us and everybody that has pulled us along this way. When we first got diagnosed, we didn't really know how serious it was until we met with the oncologist and Tina at Utah Cancer Specialist, and she's the nurse, and she is so awesome. They take really good care of me. But after meeting with those guys, it was December 4th, 2020 when we met with those guys, and we kind of said, okay, so if we don't do chemo, obviously we're going to do chemo, but if we don't, what are you thinking timeline? He was like, well, maybe like 6 to 7 months. I said, okay, with chemo, what are you thinking timeline wise? And he said 2 to 3 years. And so here we are. We're at 3 years. How cool is that? Walker's going to turn 8 in 8 days. So he'll turn 8 on the 11th. And he's going to get baptized on December 2nd. And I get to be here for that. So that is amazing. If you don't think miracles exist, you're wrong. Because you're looking at one. It's amazing. God exists, He's real, and He cares about us. And I am so grateful for the time I've had on this earth and for the time I've had in the last 3 years to change my life, change my perspective, change my attitude, and change my entire outlook on life. I'm so grateful for all the things that I have. We've been able to do so much. And I just look forward to whatever the future brings. If it's 2 months, if it's 6 months, if it's another 3 years, I'm excited to share it. So I look forward to whatever comes next.